equals September 2nd, 1939. In Dublin's government buildings, the air is thick with the scent of damp paper and tobacco. Éamon de Valera stands before the cabinet, face lit by the weak morning light. Messages from London have already arrived, requests, expectations, veiled demands. "Gentlemen," he begins, his voice steady but edged with weariness, "the world is at war once more." The room stills. Beyond, church bells toll faintly across the Liffey, marking the moment history teets again. Yet in this city, scarred by its own recent fight for freedom, there is no appetite for another war under another empire's flag. De Valera declares a stance that will define Ireland's path: neutrality. Outside, a crowd gathers by the iron gates of Merrion Street. Some cheer, others murmur dissent. "We owe it to Poland," a man shouts, but Dev, calm, solemn, knows neutrality will not mean peace, only survival at the edge of catastrophe.
Equals days after Britain's declaration of war, telegrams and envoys pour into Dublin. Sir John Maffei, the British representative, meets De Valera in a cold office, rain beating the windows. "You understand, Prime Minister, your ports could make all the difference," Maffei presses, voice controlled but firm. The memory of the treaty ports, Bantry Bay, Beerhaven, Lough Swilly, hangs between them, surrendered to Ireland barely a year earlier by Chamberlain's government. "We are an independent nation," De Valera replies quietly, fingers steepled. "We cannot fight another's war." Outside, black clouds crawl in from the Irish Sea, harbingers of what is to come. Dublin feels both defiant and uneasy, its neutrality already under siege. British officials mutter about German spies and the Atlantic lifeline, while Irish ministers speak of sovereignty carved from recent blood. In smoky pubs across the city, arguments ignite: loyalty, morality, survival. Everyone feels the walls of history close in.
Equals. In small towns from Cork to Donegal, the news ripples through post offices and parishes: Ireland will stay out. For older men, the decision feels like vindication. The ghosts of 1916 still linger in every tricolor fluttering above town halls. A young farmer, Michael O'Shea, recalls his father's stories of the Rising and the Civil War, a nation born from defiance, now clinging to sovereignty as Europe burns again. Yet Irish newspapers fill their pages with photographs of Warsaw in ruins, lines of Polish refugees trudging through smoke. Conscience stirs uncomfortably. Priests preach peace from pulpits, yet their flocks whisper prayers for those fighting tyranny abroad. In Dublin's narrow streets, a rare radio broadcast of Churchill's speech crackles through static. Michael listens, feeling torn between old wounds and the pull of solidarity. "Neutral," he murmurs, testing the word as if unsure what it means, to stand apart or to stand for something greater.
Equals, though neutral, Ireland cannot stay untouched. By late 1940, German planes cross its skies, some lost, others spies in the dark. Shannon's soft fields sometimes burn at dawn with wreckage. Dubliners peer upward as sirens wail. Belfast is being bombed again, and the glow on the northern horizon stains the night. De Valera orders lights dimmed and the army mobilized along the coasts, barely armed, barely funded. Refugees drift southward, their stories heavy with terror. The Irish government helps quietly, feeding, sheltering, always watching. At Ballinall Aerodrome, Lieutenant Sean Flaherty checks the horizon, muttering, "So much for being far away." Neutrality, once a proud shield, now feels paper-thin against the storm gathering at Europe's edge. The island breathes in dread, waiting for the war to remember it.
Equals May 31st, 1941. At 1 a.m., the city of Dublin shakes. Bombs fall over North Strand, sudden fire turning night to day. People pour from their homes, barefoot, screaming. Éamon de Valera rushes to the site by dawn, smoke curling into a pale sky, rows of houses flattened, 80 dead. Germany claims it was an accident, a navigational error, but few believe it. Standing among the ruins, De Valera removes his hat, face grim. A child's doll lies singed beside a broken bicycle. The crowd falls silent as he murmurs, "This is why we swore to stay clear of their madness." Cameras snap. The smell of earth and cordite hangs heavy. The neutrality Ireland holds so tightly is tested not by choice now, but by tragedy delivered from the clouds. The dead of North Strand remind all, even neutrality bleeds.
Beneath the column surface, Ireland becomes a crossroads of quiet war. German agents land on western shores. British and American intelligence watch closely from Dublin's hotels and consulates. MI5 and G2, the Irish intelligence, play a subtle chess game in cobblestone streets. Lieutenant Flaherty, now assigned to counter-espionage, follows whispers through smoky pubs, tracing coded radio signals from the Wicklow Mountains. One night, in a dim house, he apprehends a German courier carrying invisible ink messages intended for Berlin. "Ireland may be neutral," Flaherty says coldly, "but we're not blind." The captured man smiles faintly, understanding. The island's neutrality hides a quiet front, fought not with rifles, but secrets. Through hidden channels, De Valera quietly shares information with the Allies, while outwardly maintaining strict impartiality, balancing on a razor's edge between cooperation and sovereignty.
As reports of Auschwitz, Warsaw, and bombed cities filter slowly into neutral Ireland, the moral weight grows unbearable. Priests preach against the evil consuming Europe. University students argue in candlelit halls. Should neutrality be maintained if evil triumphs elsewhere? De Valera stands firm but weary. In a late-night cabinet meeting, he confides to his secretary, "If we abandon neutrality, we lose our soul to one master or another." Yet he knows neutrality is hauntingly fragile. Ireland shelters downed Allied pilots secretly, repatriates German flyers quietly, each decision measured and perilous. Outside, ration lines lengthen, and war news fills every broadcast. Michael O'Shea, now working in Dublin, looks out over the darkened city and wonders if standing apart is still the right thing. The silence of neutrality begins to feel like complicity, heavy as fog on the River Liffey.
By 1944, Ireland's neutrality is tested again as Allied power grows unstoppable. American aircraft patrol the Atlantic, and British submarines creep close to Irish waters. Rumors swirl that Churchill wants to seize Irish ports for the D-Day invasion. In Dublin, De Valera walks the corridors of government, stooped but steadfast. When Roosevelt offers aid in exchange for cooperation, he declines gently, aware that sovereignty, once lost, is never regained. Yet he allows British weather reports to be quietly transmitted through Irish stations, small acts that contribute to victory, unspoken gestures of practicality. In the countryside, villagers gaze skyward as formations of bombers thunder eastward, the sky alive with the machinery of liberation. Ireland remains uninvaded, intact, a small island tethered to a world at war, yet untouched by its direct hand. Neutral, still, if only barely.
May 7, 1945. Germany surrenders. Church bells echo across Dublin for victory not their own. Crowds fill O'Connell Street, cheering, waving flags, both tricolour and Union Jack, defying official neutrality with spontaneous relief. Michael O'Shea stands among them, tears mixing with rain. "It's over," someone shouts, laughter rising through years of restraint. Inside government buildings, De Valera sits in quiet contemplation. Ireland's neutrality has endured, its borders intact, its independence preserved, though history will question at what moral cost. Outside, fireworks blaze above the Liffey, and Dublin hums with released emotion. The world has changed forever, and Ireland, untouched yet transformed, watches from the shoreline of history, neutral no more in spirit, only in name.
In the quiet years that follow, Ireland reflects. The war has left scars, invisible yet deep, a moral reckoning etched into its conscience. Éamon de Valera's policy of neutrality is debated in every classroom and parliament after.
Some call it courage, others cowardice. But for those who lived through the darkness, the choice meant survival. Michael O'Shea walks along the quays of Dublin, the river calm beneath the pale dawn. He recalls the fear, the silence, the resilience. The nation stands independent, poorer perhaps, but unbroken. Neutrality, though controversial, has given Ireland space to define itself, not by war, but by endurance. The bells ring once more from Christchurch, solemn and proud. As Europe rebuilds, Ireland remains an island apart, its voice quiet, yet resolute. We stood alone, Michael whispers, and somehow that was strength.